How to improve your personality every day. Every day you wake up with two choices: repeat who you were yesterday or rise into who you're becoming. Your personality isn't fixed, it's a living force, and the world feels it before you even speak. The truth is, people notice your energy long before they notice your words, and that energy is shaped by the tiny decisions you make daily. Most people want a better personality, but they wait for a dramatic moment to change. They don't realize improvement happens in the quiet, in the way you talk to yourself, in the boundaries you set, in the discipline you keep when no one's watching. This video will show you how to evolve every single day, how to sharpen your presence, strengthen your emotional control, and step into a version of yourself that demands respect without asking for it. Because once you learn how to improve your personality with intention, you don't just change how others see you. You change how you move through the world, and that transformation, it starts today. Your personality grows when you stop performing and start becoming. Your entire life shifts the moment you stop living to impress and start living to express. Your personality improves the second you step out of the exhausting performance you've created for the world and begin showing up as who you truly are. Most people spend their lives performing, acting, molding, adjusting, pleasing, trying desperately to fit into the expectations someone else built for them. And that performance becomes heavy, it becomes draining. It becomes a mask that slowly kills the real you underneath. But the truth is this: your personality becomes powerful when you stop choosing the version of yourself that makes everyone comfortable and start becoming the version of yourself that makes you feel alive. That shift is where growth begins. When you're performing, you're constantly monitoring yourself. You watch your words. You overthink your actions. You adjust your energy depending on who's in the room. You hide your real thoughts because you fear judgment. You shrink when you should stand tall. You silence your truth to avoid conflict. You choose what's safe instead of what's real. All of this creates a fragile, unstable personality, one that can collapse the moment someone disapproves or misunderstands you. But when you decide to become instead of perform, your personality strengthens from the inside out. You're no longer shaped by opinions. You're shaped by identity. You're no longer influenced by pressure. You're moved by purpose. The deepest growth in your personality happens when you choose authenticity over approval. When you realize that your worth isn't measured by how many people like you, but by how deeply you like yourself. Every time you suppress your truth to maintain peace, your personality weakens. Every time you pretend to be someone you're not to fit in, your self-respect drops. Every time you water yourself down so others can swallow you easily, you lose the opportunity to become the person you were meant to be. But the moment you say, "I'm done performing," you reclaim all the power you gave away. True personality improvement is subtle, small decisions repeated every day. It's the way you choose honesty over pretending, the way you choose confidence over self-doubt, the way you choose boundaries instead of people pleasing, the way you choose growth over acceptance, the way you choose silence over explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. This is how you become someone that people naturally gravitate toward, someone who feels grounded, centered, real. A person whose presence carries weight because it comes from authenticity, not perfection. When you stop performing, your energy changes. Your voice becomes clearer. Your posture becomes stronger. Your presence becomes calmer. You don't move to attract attention. You naturally draw it. You don't seek validation. It comes on its own. You don't chase connections. The right people connect with you effortlessly because you're finally showing them the real you. And the real you is always more powerful than the version you thought you had to pretend to be. The world is full of copies, imitations of personalities molded by trends, opinions, and social pressure. But the world rarely encounters someone who is rooted in who they are. Someone who doesn't bend to please. Someone who doesn't trade authenticity for acceptance. Someone who doesn't perform to be liked. That kind of person is unforgettable. That kind of person leaves an impact without trying. That kind of person owns their identity without fear. And you can become that if you stop performing long enough to meet the version of yourself you've been hiding. Growth happens when you get honest with yourself. When you admit what you want, what you feel, what you believe, and what you need. When you stop living on autopilot and begin living with intention. When you stop asking, what do people want me to be? And start asking, who am I becoming? That shift alone can change your relationships, your confidence, your communication, your standards, and your emotional strength. When you become intentional about your personality, you start refining your values, your reactions, your decisions, and your presence. Your personality is not something you're born with and stuck with. It's something you can build, something you can sharpen, something you can transform, but that transformation requires honesty. It requires courage. It requires letting go of the need to be liked by everyone and focusing on becoming someone you respect. When you respect yourself, your personality improves naturally, your decisions become cleaner, your boundaries become stronger, your energy becomes calmer, and your life becomes simpler because you're no longer performing for people who don't even know who you truly are. There is a freedom that comes with being yourself, raw, real, unfiltered. A freedom that allows you to breathe fully, speak fully, feel fully, and live fully. A freedom that gives your personality space to grow and shine. A freedom that builds emotional maturity, quiet confidence, and inner strength. And once you taste that freedom, you will never go back to performing. Because performance is slavery, but authenticity is liberation. Every day, you have the opportunity to choose who you want to become. Not the version the world expects, but the version your soul is calling you to be. So start becoming. Start growing. Start showing up as the person who doesn't need permission to exist fully. Improving your personality isn't about adding traits. It's about removing the layers that were never yours to begin with. It's about peeling back everything fake, forced, or fearful. It's about returning to yourself. When you stop performing, you don't lose people who matter. You lose people who were attached to your mask. And that loss is not a tragedy, it's a cleansing. Because the people who connect with your real personality are the ones who deserve to be in your life. They meet you at your truth, not your performance. They accept your growth, not your boundaries being crossed. They stay because they see the strength in your authenticity, not the convenience in your pretending. So today, choose becoming. Choose truth. Choose authenticity. Choose growth. Choose the version of yourself that doesn't perform, doesn't shrink, and doesn't apologize for existing. That version of you is the one that will change your life. That version of you is the one with the personality that people feel, remember, and respect. Small daily choices shape the energy people feel from you. Your personality isn't something that changes overnight. It's built quietly, piece by piece, through the small choices you make every single day. The world feels your energy before it understands your words, and whether you realize it or not, you teach people how to perceive you through the decisions you repeat. Most people assume a powerful personality is something you're born with, or something that magically appears during big life moments. But the truth is much simpler. Your energy, your presence, your influence, they all come from the micro habits you practice when no one is looking. These small choices become your identity. They become what people sense the moment you walk into a room. They become the tone of your voice, the confidence in your posture, the sharpness of your boundaries, and the clarity of your mindset. Every day you make decisions that either strengthen your energy or weaken it. The choice to wake up and avoid chaos instead of diving into drama. The choice to speak with intention instead of reacting emotionally. The choice to practice self-control instead of giving your power away. The choice to walk away from what drains you instead of entertaining it. These decisions may seem small, but over time they shape a personality that feels grounded, attractive, disciplined, and magnetic. People don't remember the details of what you say. They remember how your energy made them feel. And that energy is the result of the daily habits you cultivate. For example, the way you handle stress becomes part of your personality. If every challenge sends you spiraling into panic, that becomes your energy. But if you train yourself to breathe, pause, think, and respond, people begin to sense calmness, stability, and emotional balance from you. That becomes your identity. The way you maintain your space, your room, your belongings, your responsibilities, also affects your energy. A chaotic environment creates a chaotic presence. a disciplined space, even in small ways, strengthens your inner clarity and the aura you project. The way you talk to yourself matters too. Every time you shut down negative thoughts, redirect your focus, and reinforce your worth, you strengthen the inner voice that shapes your outer confidence. Small daily choices also influence how much respect you naturally attract. For instance, saying no when something doesn't feel right may seem small, but it builds a personality that values itself. Choosing not to overshare your emotions builds mystery, emotional control, and strength. Choosing to pause before responding creates a presence that feels thoughtful and self-assured. Choosing to walk away from situations that disturb your peace builds a personality that doesn't tolerate disrespect. You don't wake up one day with a powerful personality. You build it, one choice at a time. Every time you choose discipline over laziness, your energy sharpens. Every time you choose self-respect over temporary pleasure, your aura becomes stronger. Every time you choose silence over unnecessary arguments, your presence becomes louder without saying a word. Every time you choose growth over comfort, your personality expands. And the people around you feel it. They may not understand why, but they feel the difference. They feel the strength. They feel the shift. They feel the evolution. Your personality becomes magnetic when your daily habits align with the person you want to be, not the person you've been settling for. You don't need to announce your change. You need to live it. The world responds to consistency. The world responds to discipline. The world responds to someone who embodies their truth instead of merely talking about it. You can read 100 books on improving your personality, but none of them will matter unless you apply the small lessons consistently. The tiny decisions you make each day quietly build the future version of you. People often underestimate the power of micro habits. The habit of drinking enough water influences your clarity and how energized you feel. The habit of getting enough sleep affects your mood, patience, and perception. The habit of planning your day helps you appear more organized and dependable. The habit of taking a few minutes to center yourself every morning shifts your energy entirely. These choices may feel insignificant in the moment, but collectively, they form the foundation of a personality that feels strong, confident, and intentional. One of the most powerful daily choices you can make is choosing what you give your attention to. Your attention shapes your mind. Your mind shapes your emotions. Your emotions shape your energy, and your energy shapes your personality. If your attention is constantly on negativity, gossip, insecurities, or comparison, your personality will naturally reflect anxiety, chaos, or low self-esteem. But if you choose to focus on growth, gratitude, learning, faith, healing, and discipline, your personality becomes grounded, wise, and resilient. Another daily choice that shapes your energy is the people you engage with. You don't need to cut everyone off aggressively. You just need to choose wisely. Spending time with people who elevate your thoughts makes your personality stronger. Engaging with people who drain your spirit makes your personality weaker. Energy is contagious, and every day you decide what you absorb and what you release. Your personality improves when your actions match your intentions. When you stop saying, "I want to change," and start changing. When you stop hoping for growth and start creating it. When you stop dreaming of confidence and start building it through disciplined choices. You become powerful when you become consistent. Not dramatic, not flashy, consistent. Small daily choices shape the way you think, the way you speak, the way you carry yourself, the way you treat yourself, and the way others treat you. They build inner strength, emotional intelligence, and personal magnetism. They determine your patience, your priorities, your reactions, and your boundaries. They create the version of you that the world encounters long before they know your story. Every day, remind yourself that the little things matter. Because the little things become the big things. And the big things become your life. You improve your personality not by waiting for change, but by choosing it. One small decision, one small habit, one small upgrade at a time. And before you even realize it, people will start to say, "There's something different about you." They won't be able to explain it. They won't know what changed. But they will feel the energy that your daily choices created. Emotional control is the foundation of an attractive personality. Your personality becomes truly powerful the moment you learn how to control your emotions instead of letting your emotions control you. People often think attractiveness is about looks, charm, or confidence, but the truth runs deeper. It's emotional control that makes a person unforgettable. It's emotional stability that makes someone stand out in a loud, impulsive, reactive world. When you can stay centered while everyone else is losing themselves, you naturally become someone people respect, gravitate toward, and trust. Emotional control is not about being emotionless. It is about being emotionally sovereign. And this sovereignty shapes the way people feel your presence long before they understand your mind. Most people react without thinking. They get angry easily. They take things personally. They let others trigger them. They explode, shut down, or over-explain. This weakens their energy and drains their dignity. When a person has no emotional control, their personality becomes unpredictable, unstable, and exhausting. It becomes easy for others to manipulate them, confuse them, or push them into behaviors they later regret. But the moment you gain mastery over your emotional responses, you rise above the noise. You become someone who is not moved by pressure, but guided by clarity. You become someone whose presence communicates calmness, strength, and confidence without needing to speak. Emotional control is built in the small moments: the pause before you respond, the deep breath before you react, the choice to observe instead of absorb, the maturity to walk away instead of explain yourself to someone who isn't listening. When you can stay in control, when things get frustrating, stressful, or disrespectful, you are demonstrating a level of strength that many people never achieve. And that strength shapes your personality into something admirable and magnetic. A person with emotional control doesn't chase validation because they trust themselves. They don't fall apart when someone disrespects them because they know their worth. They don't respond to every insult because not every opinion deserves their energy. They don't rise to every argument because peace is more valuable than being right. They know when to speak, when to be silent, when to walk away, and when to let people learn from the consequences they create. This kind of emotional discipline makes you attractive, not just to others, but to yourself. The most powerful personalities are not the loudest, they are the most grounded. The ones who stay stable in chaos, the ones who don't break easily, the ones who don't lose themselves just because someone else is trying to pull them into a storm. When people see that you are not easily shaken, they automatically treat you differently. They speak to you with more respect. They approach you more carefully. They value your presence more deeply. Emotional control communicates a silent message: I know who I am, and nothing you do will change that. Emotional control also makes your relationships healthier. When you communicate from calmness instead of anger, you avoid unnecessary damage. When you listen to understand instead of listening to react, you build deeper connections. When you express your needs without fear or aggression, people hear you more clearly. When you set boundaries without guilt, you protect your peace. When you don't take everything personally, you free yourself from constant emotional exhaustion. A person with strong emotional control doesn't overthink every situation. They interpret it with clarity instead of insecurity. You also become more attractive because people feel safe around you. They feel safe in your steadiness, safe in your emotional maturity, safe in your ability to stay calm and grounded when life becomes overwhelming. Safety is one of the most underrated traits of an attractive personality. People remember how you made them feel. And when your presence feels like peace instead of chaos, like clarity instead of confusion, like stability instead of volatility, you become unforgettable. But emotional control isn't something you magically wake up with one day. It's built through intentional discipline. It's built through self-awareness, noticing your triggers, understanding your patterns, and choosing healthier responses. It's built through self-respect, refusing to let your emotions be controlled by situations or people who don't deserve that level of influence over your inner world. It's built through self-mastery, recognizing that reacting impulsively is easy, but responding wisely is powerful. You become emotionally strong when you stop letting external situations dictate your internal state. When you stop giving people the power to ruin your day. When you stop letting a single comment, misunderstanding, or moment of disrespect pull you out of character. When you stop giving your peace away just because someone else wants you to lose control. Emotional control is not suppression, it is ownership. It is knowing you are allowed to feel everything, but you don't have to act on everything. Your personality flourishes when you learn to choose your responses instead of reacting instantly. When you stop snapping back, when you stop overreacting, when you stop explaining your worth, when you stop internalizing everything around you, when you learn the difference between being triggered and being thoughtful, when you can sit with discomfort without losing your center, when you can be calm even when others want a reaction. This level of self-control elevates your personality into something refined and rare. And the more emotionally controlled you become, the more attractive your presence becomes. People will describe you as mysterious, powerful, magnetic, mature, and confident. Not because you're perfect, but because you're consistent. Not because you never feel emotions, but because you handle them with wisdom. Not because you never get hurt, but because you know how to move through pain without losing your dignity. Emotional control is the root of self-respect, the foundation of confidence, and the heart of a truly strong personality. When you master your emotions, you master your life. You stop reacting. You stop chasing. You stop crumbling. You stop giving away your power. Instead, you rise, you stabilize. You become someone others look up to, someone who leads with calmness, someone who inspires others simply through presence. Someone who makes people feel safe, respected, and grounded. When your emotions serve you instead of sabotage you, your personality becomes a force, a presence, a strength. And from that strength, every part of your life transforms. Protect your peace like it's part of your identity. Your peace is not a luxury. It is not something you protect only when life gets overwhelming. Your peace is part of your identity, and the strength of your personality depends on how fiercely you guard it. The truth is simple. People with powerful personalities don't have perfect lives. They simply refuse to let the world disturb their inner stability. When you protect your peace, you build a presence that feels calm, grounded, and wise. And that presence becomes a natural part of your personality, shaping how you move, how you speak, how you respond, and how you connect with others. Most people give away their peace without even realizing it. They absorb negativity they don't need. They accept disrespect they don't deserve. They engage in drama that doesn't benefit them. They allow people to overstep boundaries because they're afraid of looking mean. They respond to every argument, every rumor, every insult, letting strangers, coworkers, or even family members drain their emotional energy. But when you let everything get to you, your personality becomes reactive and unstable. Protecting your peace is not about avoiding problems. It's about refusing to let those problems change who you are. Your peace becomes a part of your personality when you stop entertaining what disturbs your spirit. You don't have to react to everything. You don't have to explain your every decision. You don't have to prove your worth. You don't have to match someone's disrespect with your own. You don't have to let someone's anger become your anger. Strong people know when to walk away. They know when silence speaks louder than confrontation. They know when their energy is too expensive for certain conversations. This is not weakness. This is wisdom. Protecting your peace means choosing your environment with intention. The spaces you spend time in affect your mood, your habits, and your identity. If you surround yourself with chaos, you become chaotic. If your days are filled with loud, negative energy, your personality becomes tense and drained. But when you build environments that feel safe, clean, intentional, and calm, your personality naturally becomes more grounded. Your surroundings influence your emotions more than you think. Protecting your peace means protecting the spaces that shape your mind. It also means choosing people wisely. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not every friendship is meant to continue. Not every family member is meant to stay close. Not every coworker deserves a reaction. Some people thrive on chaos, conflict, and emotional instability, and the more time you spend with them, the more your personality absorbs their energy. Protecting your peace means being selective. It means keeping distance from people who drain you, confuse you, disrespect you, or force you to betray your boundaries. It means prioritizing people who bring calmness, clarity, and support, not chaos. Your personality grows when you understand this peace is not the absence of noise, but the presence of control. It's the quiet confidence that you get to decide what enters your mind, your heart, and your life. No matter what someone says or does, you get to choose your reaction. You get to choose your emotional state. You get to choose whether something is worth your energy. And the person who chooses wisely becomes emotionally powerful. When you protect your peace, your personality becomes more attractive because people can feel the difference. They can sense that you're not easily triggered. They can sense that you're not desperate for approval. They can sense that you're not controlled by external chaos. They can sense that you're someone who moves with intention. And that kind of presence is rare. It's calming. It's magnetic. It's unforgettable. Protecting your peace also means protecting your time. Time is one of the most valuable pieces of your identity. How you spend it shapes your thoughts, your habits, and your growth. When you allow distractions to consume your time, endless scrolling, toxic conversations, meaningless commitments, you weaken your personality with every wasted hour. But when you value your time, your personality becomes disciplined and focused. You don't rush. You don't chase. You don't crumble under pressure. You prioritize what matters and release what doesn't. Your peace is also built through the rituals you practice daily. Your morning routine, your evening reflection, your self-care habits, your boundaries, your prayer, your meditation, your journaling, your reading, whatever keeps you centered. These small rituals stabilize your mind and shape your personality. A person with strong rituals becomes emotionally unshakable because they begin and end each day in control of their inner world. Protecting your peace requires strength. It requires discipline. It requires letting go of people, habits, and environments that no longer align with who you're becoming. Sometimes the hardest part of protecting your peace is realizing that the people who disrupt it are the same people you once cared for deeply. But when it comes down to your mental clarity and emotional survival, you must choose yourself, because the world will not choose you. Your peace is your responsibility. If you don't guard it, someone else will destroy it. And the more you protect your peace, the more powerful your personality becomes. You speak more clearly because your mind is not cluttered. You love more confidently because your heart is not exhausted. You walk more boldly because your spirit is not wounded. You make better decisions because you're not operating from fear or confusion. You look stronger because your energy is aligned, calm, and intentional. People with protected peace stand out without trying. They radiate an aura that says, I know who I am, I know what I allow, I know what I refuse, and nothing outside of me can shake the identity I've built within. That is the kind of personality that commands respect effortlessly. That is the kind of personality people admire, trust, and follow. Protecting your peace is not selfish. It is essential. It is not isolation. It is alignment. It is not distance. It is maturity. And when you master this, your personality becomes something extraordinary, steady, resilient, grounded, and deeply attractive. A person at peace is a person in power. Reinvent yourself through curiosity, not comparison. Most people never grow into the best version of themselves because they spend their entire lives comparing instead of becoming. Comparison kills personality. It kills creativity. It kills confidence. It kills the natural spark that makes you unique. The moment you compare your journey to someone else's, you lose your direction and disconnect from your own potential. Reinvention doesn't happen by looking outward. It happens by looking inward with curiosity. When you stop asking, why am I not like them? And start asking, who am I becoming? You unlock a level of personal growth that transforms your entire identity. Curiosity is the fuel of reinvention, and reinvention is the foundation of a powerful personality. When you operate from comparison, you're always behind. You're always lacking. You're always measuring yourself against someone's highlight reel, someone's timing, someone's advantages, someone's path. And this constant measuring destroys the confidence you need to evolve. But when you operate from curiosity, the whole internal experience changes. You no longer see yourself as insufficient. You see yourself as evolving. You no longer see your mistakes as failures. You see them as lessons. You no longer see your pace as slow. You see it as personalized. Curiosity removes shame and replaces it with possibility. Curiosity asks, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from here? What new part of myself can I explore? What habits can I improve? What can I try today that I didn't try yesterday? Comparison asks the opposite. Why am I behind? Why don't I look like them? Why don't I have what they have? What's wrong with me? One path leads to expansion. The other leads to paralysis. A truly attractive personality is built through curiosity. Curious people pay attention. They ask questions. They explore their interests. They try new things. They stay open to growth instead of stuck in insecurity. They're not afraid to start over, reinvent themselves, or break old patterns. Their personality evolves because they refuse to get trapped in who they used to be. When you're curious, you're constantly upgrading your mindset, your habits, your skills, your identity. You become someone who is always learning, always rising, always refining, not to compete but to grow. Curiosity also softens the ego. When you're curious, you stop pretending to know everything. You stop needing to be right all the time. You stop forcing yourself to be perfect. You become more humble, more open, more aware. And humility is a trait that makes your personality beautiful and grounded. People feel safe around someone who is growing instead of someone who is pretending. Curiosity makes you flexible, not rigid. It makes you thoughtful, not defensive. It makes you wise, not insecure. Reinvention through curiosity means giving yourself permission to outgrow old versions of yourself. It means asking, what part of me no longer serves the life I want? Instead of asking, what will people think if I change? Change becomes natural instead of shameful. Growth becomes exciting instead of scary. Reinvention becomes empowering instead of overwhelming. You begin to see your identity as something you can shape, not something you're stuck with. When you rely on comparison, your identity becomes fragile. You're easily discouraged, easily intimidated, easily threatened. Someone else's success makes you question your worth. Someone else's beauty makes you doubt your own. Someone else's speed makes you feel slow. But curiosity shifts everything. Suddenly, other people's successes become sources of inspiration rather than intimidation. Instead of asking, why not me? You ask, what can this teach me? Instead of feeling defeated, you feel motivated. Instead of shrinking, you rise. Reinvention happens fastest when you become deeply curious about yourself. Most people know everything about celebrities, influencers, and strangers online, but almost nothing about their own inner world. They don't know their strengths. They don't know their blind spots. They don't know what triggers them, inspires them, drains them, activates them, or heals them. They never pause long enough to ask themselves real questions. Their personality stays stuck because their self-knowledge stays shallow. But when you become curious about yourself, your thoughts, your habits, your emotional patterns, you gain the power to change them. You learn what brings out your best energy. You learn what destroys your peace. You learn what inspires you. You learn what keeps you aligned. Reinvention becomes a conscious, intentional process rather than a painful one. Curiosity also helps you stay present, instead of obsessing over the past or future. When you're curious, you're grounded in the moment. You observe more, you absorb more, you become calmer, wiser, more self-aware. People are drawn to individuals who can be fully present, not lost in overthinking or drowning in insecurities. The more present you become, the more your personality feels warm, approachable, and emotionally available. Reinventing yourself through curiosity means stepping into a mindset of continuous evolution. Instead of saying, this is just how I am, you begin to say, this is who I am becoming. Your identity becomes fluid, not rigid. You give yourself permission to explore new hobbies, new environments, new knowledge, new mindsets, new habits, new ways of thinking. And each exploration adds depth and richness to your personality. A curious person is never boring, never stagnant, never predictable. They are always learning something new, refining something old, discovering something interesting. Their presence carries depth. Their aura carries wisdom. Their personality carries a sense of movement. Reinvention becomes their lifestyle, and growth becomes their signature. Comparison makes you insecure. Curiosity makes you unstoppable. Comparison shuts your personality down. Curiosity opens your personality up. Comparison makes you chase someone else's identity. Curiosity helps you build your own. When you switch from comparison to curiosity, you stop competing with people and start competing with your past self. You stop waiting to feel ready and start taking action. You stop fearing failure because every failure becomes a lesson. Your personality doesn't just evolve, it transforms. It becomes multidimensional, vibrant, strong, deep, and confident. And the best part, curiosity makes your personality feel alive. It makes your presence feel fresh, ever growing, ever becoming. It makes you inspiring. Not because you have everything figured out, but because you're willing to keep becoming more.